When Jobs was 12, HP founder Bill Hewlett offered him a summer job after Steve called him asking for parts for an electronics project. It was known that Jobs had a keen interest in engineering from a young age, as he used to help his guardian, Paul, fix things on his workbench. Steve Jobs' GPA was 2.65 out of 4, which was considered pretty mediocre. He was an official college dropout, but continued his education by informally auditing classes. One class Jobs audited was a calligraphy course, which he said was instrumental in the future Apple products' attention to typography and font. Stories say that when the Macintosh was complete, Jobs made the team that worked on the machine sign a piece of paper, which later became the model for a metal plate that would go inside every Macintosh computer. For Jobs, the original Macintosh was not just a computer, it was a piece of art. It was the first mainstream computer to have a graphical user interface, and the team employed a number of people who had artistic qualities, as well as technical ones. Steve Jobs was known to prove a point in a memorable way, and that was certainly the case when Apple was designing an iPod. The engineers explained that they had to reinvent inventing to create the iPod, and that it was simply impossible to make it any smaller. But Jobs dropped the iPod in the tank and pointed at floating bubbles, proving his point that there was still room to make it smaller. In 1985, Steve Jobs was fired from Apple, as he wanted to drop the price of the underperforming Macintosh and shift large portions of the advertising budget away from Apple II over to the Mac. John Sculley disagreed. He argued that price had no bearing into Macintosh's poor sales, but rather the unimpressive software it ran. Sculley took the matter to the board of directors, which sided with the former Pepsi CEO, thus firing Jobs. According to Steve Wozniak, Jobs didn't ever code. He wasn't an engineer, and he didn't do any original design, but he was technical enough to alter and change and add to other designs. Wozniak did all of the Apple I and II, including the feature choices. The only person who helped write some of the Apple II code was Alan Baum, who helped with the Monitor program.